All right, guys. Recently, we seen a big blunder by Scopely, like a massive blunder when you consider people are paying money for this. People are putting their hands in their pocket, forking out their hard-earned cash, and Scopely admit that there was like a visual bug. They basically advertised Prime officers, the ultimate reward in the Battle Pass. They advertised Prime officers to buy the Battle Pass. A load of people like myself went out and bought that Battle Pass on the basis it was going to get me Prime officers. There is a pack you can buy for Prime officers. I think it was a lot more expensive than the Battle Pass, and it made it a bit of a no-brainer to get the Battle Pass and go and get Prime officers. I mentioned this in a previous video, and then Scopely come out, this disgraceful behaviour that we've seen from them in the past, these complete blunders. I don't know what sort of monkeys that have got working on this kind of stuff. Like, fair enough, it was Christmas time and all of that kind of stuff, but to go out and advertise something completely wrongly, get people paying for it, and then backtrack and say, oh, well, actually we're going to let you trade it in for the actual thing that you thought you were buying. Pretty disgraceful behaviour, but it's what we come to expect from Scopely sometimes. So their remedy for it is convert it. You can take a wee read of that in your own time, guys. We'll refer back to it during our video here as we go along. But there it is. You can basically convert to the 4-star rare gas to get your Prime officers, because they're acknowledging that they advertised it, and probably there would be more court cases and things like that there if they're advertising to sell one thing and then they don't make it available afterwards. So legally they're probably obliged to do this, guys. There's been no compensation for the mistake that they've made. There's been no real acknowledgement that they've duped people into buying the latest Battle Pass, but at least they have done this. And you can now go and get your Prime officers if you wish to convert this. But this is one of the toughest decisions. Scopely's blunder has given me one of the toughest decisions that I have had in this game. It's a very, very difficult one, guys, because if we go into the research, it's basically given you a toss-up in terms of choice between your Prime officers and your Borg Prime research. Now, initially, everybody will tell you get the Prime officers, and it always was a no-brainer to get the Prime officers if you were the sort of player that was willing to spend on the game. Now, if you're free to play, you'd be more reluctant to spend on the game, so you may not get Prime officers. So it's one of those things that if you're going to make an exception, or somebody's going to buy you a gift in this game or something like that, and you want to try to remain more or less free to play, then Prime officers is probably one of the only packs that would have ever been worth it traditionally in this game. And there it is. Basically doubles your attack, defense, and the health of the officers on your ship. Makes a big difference when it comes to PvP and things like that. And if you're free to play and you're going out there up against a similar level player with a similar crew and a similar ship, and they've got Prime officers, they're going to beat your ass. So Prime officers was always a bit of a no-brainer. And when I seen it in the Battle Pass, like I said, I bought the Battle Pass on that basis. But then when I started to dig down into it and look at my situation, remember, all of our situations are going to be a little bit different. So I'm not going to recommend across the board that everybody does what I do here, but when we look at the Prime Borg rewards, it doubles our output of faction credits when you are turning in your Borg probes. Latinum Refinery, faction credits and reputation, the Borg Refinery, and better outcomes for the Latinum Antique Refinery. Actually not sure there now when I look at it if it does double the output of your independent credits. Something we'll have to check. If somebody has got them primes and has proven that or disproven that, leave a comment below, guys. I'd be interested to hear if that is the case. It still doesn't make a huge difference to me, because it's the faction credits that really I'm after here, because something I work away on just as I'm grinding through the game. I go and I gather up some of these Borg nanoprobes, and I turn them in, and we refine them, and I get some of my independent credits, and I get some of my faction credits and all of that. And traditionally I'm getting 230. This is going to turn it into 460 every time I refine 5,500 of these old nanoprobes. Something you do more or less on a daily basis. So doubling that up over the long term seems like it could be very, very valuable altogether. So it's given me some serious food for thought. And what I'm probably going to do, and what has probably made my decision for me, is I'm sitting on a Mayflower here. Now, they said in the little view screen that if you max a D3, it will get you this. You don't actually have to max a Mayflower. I'll shoot up a wee screenshot from Twitcher, my buddy Twitcher, who recently done this, and he scrapped a T8 Mayflower and got enough to get his Prime officer. So you only need a T8 Mayflower. You can see there, I'm sitting on a T6 Mayflower, guys. out passive grinding at the moment during this event, and I'm going to work on that because I'm not a million miles off my Mayflower, and I'll be able to, when you get to level 37, 38, you're approaching that 39 kind of milestone, folks. If you think that it's a relatively easy or it's a relatively shorter task for you to be able to go and get a T8 Mayflower and scrap that, I would be suggesting that that's the way to go, and turn in your epic G4 gas for your Borg prime refines, folks. That's what I'd be recommending if you're in a similar situation to me, because like they say in the view screen again, it's going to be like level 42 or something like this before you're going to be able to start refining G4 materials to get the epic G4 gas again. That means it's a long time for me to be waiting to go and get my my Borg prime refines for doubling up my faction credit output, whereas it's not such a long haul task to be able to scrap a Mayflower. Yet surely I need to go, and something I'm working on at the minute, I need to go and upgrade my scrapyard a little bit and things like that. But once I go and I hit level 38 and I'm approaching level 39, I'll be scrapping. I'll be doing that sooner rather than later. I'll be doing that in the coming weeks. It'll be years probably before I'm level 42 and can refine G4 epic gas and get those Borg refines. So I'm probably going to stick with what was originally intended, turn that in, and scrap this Mayflower that I'm working on at the moment to get my prime officers. That's the way I'm going to do it. Now, the caveat to all of this is that if you're a million miles away from getting a T8 Mayflower, if you're a lot lower and you're going, it's going to be a long time before I even get to level 38 Amorgin, that's a long way off for me. And certainly if you're the sort of player that likes a bit of PvP, then by all means feel free to go and get your prime officers sooner rather than later, guys, and leave the old Borg prime refines, grind away on that and get it in the traditional way that we've always been doing it before you get the prime Borg pack. Or you can go and you can purchase that Borg prime pack then eventually if you so choose. But if you're free to play and you're happy to grind and you're a million miles away from getting a scrapyard up to the level where you need to scrap a T8 Mayflower, and you know, you get level 38 basically, if you're a million miles away from that and you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel with that, then by all means go and get your prime officers, folks. There's no right or wrong decision to make in this. It's just a very tough decision, and I'm sharing with you guys the logic as to why I am going to stick with the Borg prime refines. I bought the battle pass with the intention of going and getting the prime officers. Now I'm realizing it's a shorter journey to scrap the Mayflower to do that for me, and it's a longer journey to get the Borg prime refines, which is going to double my faction credit output in the shorter term. So I'm going to do that, largely because I'm probably going to be working on getting myself a D4 eventually. That's the next task probably. If I turned in all of my Klingon credits now, and with what I've got already on the old D4, I'm probably looking at something around 70 odd blueprints for my D4. It'll make my journey to a D4 a lot shorter if I double my faction credit output. So that's what I'm going to do. Feel free, guys, to leave your thoughts on this. Like I say, I don't think there's any right or wrong road to go on this. What I would suggest, though, as a reminder, is that if you're around my level 38, 37, and you're going to be getting there sooner rather than later, I would suggest going with the Borg prime refines, guys, and doing the Mayflower or D3 or whatever it is to get your rare gas to do the prime officers that way. So I hope this has been a little bit helpful. Let me know what you think. Let me know what other people have done. Let me know any decisions that you've made. We've got a couple of days left to do this in the event store. We've got three, almost 4 days left from time of recording here to convert that. I'm not going to convert it. When my research is up here, I'm researching Battleship at the moment, Battleship Warfare. So there's 6 days left in that. So when I get that down a little bit, I'm gonna work on the Borg prime refines, double my faction output, and hopefully that'll work out for me. If you guys have different thoughts, feel free to come in the Discord, leave your comments below this video. If you think it's on the right track, let me know that as well. If you're still confused about any of it, then come on ahead and chat to us and we'll see if we can steer you in the right direction. And until the next time, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.